Last year, 2 rural villages in Taiwan saw exactly 8 births, 16 deaths, 4 marriages, and 2 divorces. And yet this tiny, highly static population supports over 15 different churches. Welcome to today's Deep Dive. We've got a fascinating case study and message from Pastor Hu Zikong, and our mission today is simple. We are figuring out how a hyper-local group in a completely saturated market managed to achieve, massive global reach.
Yeah, it really is an incredible lesson in scale. And it's rooted in this old philosophical idea from the source material, the concept of being salt and light.
Right. And Pastor Hu makes a point to define this not as retreating from the world, but as having a distinct active influence on it. I mean, salt changes the flavor of a dish, and light changes the visibility of a room.
Exactly. But to see how that actually works, we need to look at the ground reality in Beipu and Dahan villages in Hualien County. Between the two, you have roughly 6,500 people, so it's a very small fixed community.
Okay, let's unpack this, because having 15 churches for a few thousand people, and think about your own industry for a second. If you opened up a niche coffee shop on a block that already had 14 other coffee shops, you'd just be fighting for scraps.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
You'd be cannibalizing the market.
Yeah, so if the goal is to be salt and light and actually influence your environment, aren't there just, too many people fishing in a tiny empty pond?
That is the exact trap the Beipu Church realized they were in, because they only have about 50 members. They saw that if they defined their environment purely by physical geography, their influence was fundamentally capped.
Because the local market was already entirely saturated.
Right, exactly. So they needed a medium that didn't rely on foot traffic.
So they had to stop looking at their own zip code.
They did.
Yeah.
On July 5, 2022, they shifted to a macro perspective. They launched 4 audio programs to distribute their message globally.
Wait, let me push back here, though, because anyone can buy a microphone and start putting audio on the internet.
Yeah.
We all know digital tools exist.
Sure, yeah.
But just recording yourself doesn't explain how a 50-person rural community suddenly gets, nearly 20,000 monthly downloads. What was the actual mechanism driving that traffic?
It's a really great question. The secret wasn't just that they used audio, but rather, how they positioned their highly specific, localized perspective. They tapped into a broader global diaspora.
Oh, interesting. So people who had moved away.
Yeah, people who had moved away or who just resonated with that specific rural Taiwanese cultural context.
Yeah.
Suddenly they were able to access a flavor they couldn't find in big city megachurches.
Ah, I see. So they didn't water down their local identity to appeal to the masses. They just made it accessible to the thousands of people worldwide who actually wanted that specific niche.
Precisely.
Which brings us to one of their program titles, Gospel Big Refrigerator. I need to know what that means, because without context, it sounds completely random.
I know, but it's a brilliant metaphor when you break it down. In rural communities, a big refrigerator is where you store large batches of food to preserve it, right? Keeping it fresh so it's ready whenever someone is hungry.
Okay, yeah, that tracks.
So they treated their digital content exactly like that. They were storing their spiritual and cultural insights online, so anyone, anywhere, could open it up and take what they needed, exactly when they needed it.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like an on-demand pantry for their specific audience.
And the demand was very real. The text shares this great anecdote. The pastor traveled abroad for vacation on May 17th. Literally the very next day, a university professor urgently messaged him, asking for the latest audio links.
Wow, just because the refrigerator hadn't been stocked yet for the week.
Exactly. The hunger for their specific value far exceeded their physical borders. I mean, you have a prominent academic relying on the insights of a tiny 50-person rural group. It just proves the geography no longer dictated their influence.
So what does this all mean then? The source text talks about turning a short local candle into sunlight. But functionally, it's like they stopped trying to hand out flyers on a deserted street corner and instead build a radio tower that broadcasts right over the mountains.
Yeah, that is the core takeaway here. True influence means recognizing when your immediate environment is saturated, when you're just the 15th coffee shop on the block, and then finding the medium that connects your distinct, highly specific value with the wider audience that is actually looking for it.
It completely reframes how we think about scale. Whether you're building a business, creating art, or just sharing a hyper-specific passion, if a 50-person community in a small village can use everyday technology to transcend physical borders and reach thousands, what artificial local boundaries are currently limiting your own ideas and influence?